There are 269 Kiss studio songs. Of those, only 17 start with the bass or have a prominent bass part before the guitars kick in. But what is Kiss's best bass intro? And, trivia question, which of these albums has 3 songs that start with a bass slide? The answer may surprise you.
All Kiss ranks, because the world desperately needs more internet rankings.
In last place is Kiss in Time. Let's hear it. The original Bobby Rydell version has this jumping, staccato bass part and it's awesome. Kiss tried to make it more rock and it took away all the fun from the song. It might have something to do with the fact that they didn't want to record this, but were being forced to by Neil Bogart. At 16 is Just a Boy, from The Elder. Yup, this song actually starts with the bass. Bass slides usually indicate something fun is about to happen. And then we get a song about sailing and the fear of failing. It doesn't really fit. After a drum fill, I'm an Animal has a quick bass slide to start the song. It's not bad, but I think just starting with the awesome riff would have been better. The next bass intro, however, does fit well. It's Hooked on Rock and Roll, from Peter's solo album. It's a few pickup notes from the drums and bass. Let's hear it again. This is a song that's meant to be rockin' and fun, so starting with a weird little drum and bass intro like this works. Sticking with Peter's album, I'm Gonna Love You, starts off the album with a nice descending bass slide. It's not a bad way to kick off the record at all, and love it or hate it, it sets the tone for the rest of the album. Last Chance is the last song on Kiss's last album and it starts off with the bass riff on its own. It's got a bit of a plaster caster feel, in that it's aggressively played 8th notes, but the line moves more. At number 11 is the ascending bass slide to Don't You Let Me Down. This fits great and it establishes the yacht rock feel of the song. And, yes, 3 of the songs on Peter's album start with the bass. Who knew? At number 10 is Plaster Caster. This is probably the song you thought of when you clicked on this video. And starting a song with a full 4 measures of aggressive straight 8s from the bass is a ballsy move. And it works well for the song. It's very satisfying when the guitar kicks in. But it's hard to put straight A8 notes any higher on this list. Tunnel of Love, from Gene's 78 album is the only song on here to which you can rightfully exclaim, slap and dial bass. It's a cool intro to a goofy song. Paralyzed from Revenge is just a bass slide. But it's a hell of a bass slide. It sounds like it's going to go on forever. Let's hear it again. I always imagined that this was recorded on a bass with an insanely long neck. And it's just as it starts to peter out, the rest of the song hits hard. It's great. Back to the Stone Age is a really fun song. And I love that it starts off with the distorted bass line followed by a measure of silence. It's the silence that makes it interesting. I'm glad they saved Gene's cheesy
I like it
for the break after the solo. At number 6 is Mr. Blackwell. This is pretty much just Gene doing his blood-spitting solo, but it sounds badass and it establishes the evilness of the antagonist. Or at least I assume he's the antagonist. It's kinda hard to tell what's going on with the Elder. Easy as It Seems is a forgotten song from Unmasked. But check out this Latin-inspired bass part with the congas in the intro. Hell yes, Miami Sound Machine can suck it. We're going to stick with Unmasked for number 4. The cocaine-inspired Torpedo Girl is many people's guilty pleasure Kiss song. But this bass line, which I assume is played by Ace himself, is funky and tight. It sounds absolutely nothing like a Kiss song, but it's awesome. Before we get to the top 3, let's take a look at the Hall of Fame of people other than Gene who have played bass on at least one Kiss song. As we do, will you please consider subscribing to All Kiss Ranked for more Kiss rankings? Thanks. Number 3. Jungle. Bruce Kulick on the bass. This is such a cool bass part, enhanced by a great phaser effect. To really get a feel for how cool this bass line is, I've including a link in the comments to Bruce playing this along with the track during peak COVID times. At number 2 is Sure Know Something from Dynasty. This is one of Kiss's plushest, poppiest songs. So starting with the bass is such an interesting choice. But it's such a neat bass part that it really works. There was no way this song wasn't going to be at number 1. It might be because we all associate it with Gene spitting blood in the early years, but the bass intro to 100,000 Years is universally loved. The 2 slide hits in the beginning make you wonder what's going to happen, and then there's this driving bass part, which doesn't quite make sense on its own, but then when the rest of the band kicks in, it's just glorious. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this list. Please like and subscribe and let me know your order in the comments below. Bye.